All right, folks, we're back with the Malzberg panel. General Vallely and C. Edmund Wright rejoin us. And General, you have some news on Benghazi to share with us, sir.
Well, I do. I've co-founded and part of the Citizens Commission on Benghazi. We now have pretty good evidence that to answer the question of why Ambassador Stevens was in Benghazi. We now have that, and the reason he was there because of an arms deal. There was a covert plan within the State Department, U.S. government, to arm the Libyan rebels whom the United States government was supporting and who ultimately ousted, of course, former Libyan Prime Minister Muammar Gaddafi in October 2011. But I want to tell you about Mike Turi, T-U-R-I. Steve, and you ought to do a little investigative reporting on this and do a show on it. Mike was involved in that arms deal. He now has a sealed indictment against him by the U.S. government and State Department. We are working with Mike now to try to raise money for him to help him out. But here's an individual caught up again in the vice of this government who wants to silence anybody that knows anything deep about Benghazi. That's why the Select Committee is so important. But we got to know now it was a botched arms deal funded by Qatar, who continues to support the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda, not only there, but in Syria. And Mike Turi's the guy that hopefully we can get all that information out of once we can get him in front of a select committee.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You do anticipate he'll be called by the committee to testify.
We hope so, yes. We're providing that to Trey Gowdy, by the way. Yeah.
Good. And you know, I read so many reports about alleged threats. Threats of pension, threats of position, threats of, ruining someone's future, and prosecution even, if people who know what happened actually talk. Now, what is the sealed indictment? I mean, it's sealed, obviously, but what do you suspect they're going after him for?
Well, supposedly his association and supporting certain truths about what happened in Benghazi. They really don't want him to talk. And so he knows all about the covert plan because he was intimately involved with it and knows the connections to Qatar and knows that the State Department and what the State Department is involved in an arms deal is beyond me. I thought they were diplomatic representatives of America. But here they put their ambassador at risk in Benghazi, trying to arm Al-Qaeda, supported and proffered by the Muslim Brotherhood to oust Gaddafi. And boy, it's all coming together now, Steve.
Edmund, so Hillary will hopefully be asked about this, and she gonna, say, hey, I know nothing, or is she gonna take the fifth literally on this one?
Hillary Sergeant Schultz. Anyway, isn't it interesting? Well, what do we find out?
I mean, she could do. I don't recall, like when she testified before a grand jury back in the old days.
Right, she was just baking cookies, right? But anyway, this is what we said Ambassador Stevens was doing, and by we, I mean those of us who been upset by this whole issue of the supposed video. This was part of the story from the get-go, and I'm glad the general can now answer Trey Gowdy's first question to the media when he grilled the media in that great YouTube video that's going around of what was he doing in Benghazi. So I agree. It sounds like to me the story is coming together, and it's not going to be what Susan Rice said on the 5 Sunday shows.
Correct.
No. Well, listen, kudos to you, General, for doing such great work and being on the ground there and in Syria and elsewhere, and always coming back here and telling us among the first and letting us be the first to know, and all of our viewers. And I thank you very much. And thank you both, General Paul E. Vallely and, of course, C. Edmund Wright. And I'm looking here, and I know that Edmund, you'll be back in the next panel as well. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you soon. All right, folks. So when we come back, the Santa Barbara shootings, but also stabbings. I mean, a lot of people were shot. 3 people were killed. Then the gunman took his own life. That makes 4 by gun, and many more were wounded with a gun. But 3 of his roommates were killed. And I remember the detective, the police officer, saying it was one of the most gruesome scenes he ever saw the stabbing of the 3 roommates. So we're going to talk about all that with Gloria Allred. Don't go away.